Hi, welcome to the Reverb Room. I am your host, Destino, and today I'm joined by your co-host, Luchito.
Well, welcome everyone. My name is Luchito. I was invited by this amazing, incredible musician. His name is Destino, and we're here with the incredible Sam Burt. If you think you have not heard their music, you probably have, because Sam has been grinding in this city for a while. I want to say at least a decade that you've just been just in the Denver music scene. I know that you play raves, you play a ton of instruments.
Yeah, it's been about 10 years.
Well, welcome.
9.
Welcome to the show. Let's just get into it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. This is super cool.
I know that you and Luchito grew up together in Gunnison. You and I met like a decade ago, and we've performed a lot of shows together in that time. Do you think you could tell me a little bit of like how growing up in Gunnison shaped your creative process?
Yeah, I'd say it. So Gunnison is a very small town, as Luchito knows, and as you know.
Would you call it a town? I feel like it's more like a village. Like
It's a village. It's a little hamlet.
I guess here's a little context for people that don't know where this town is. It's like 300 miles up towards the mountains. There is an airport that's about a mile long, and that's basically the entire city. Like, it's just like a mile by a mile.
It is about a mile by a mile. It's
Yeah.
a tiny bit bigger now, but it's small. And there's not a ton of arts there. There's, fortunately, we had a really cool art teacher at our high school that did like give me an avenue to pursue my art. But I do also feel like my creativity was a little bit like starved in Gunnison, which in the long run was a good thing, because then when I came to Denver, I was like so ready to tap into every resource and scene that I could get my hands on.
Yeah.
Because I came from like, small town, a lot of ranchers.
A lot of cowboys.
A lot of cowboys. Not very many queer people.
Oh.
Had to like
for sure, yeah.
discover a lot about my identity once I came to the city and had role models. It's a small town, a little hamlet, a village.
How did you and Luchito meet?
Well, you were a cool art senior of mine.
Wait, don't age me. Don't tell everyone how
Okay.
old I am. But like,
Well, you were a few years ahead of me in school, and I looked up to you.
oh,
you
that's
were-
actually super sweet. I did not know that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't think I was that cool. I was like the really awkward queer kid in my high school.
Well, that's what I thought was cool.
Period.
There was like, all the kids that hung out in the art room and Mr. White's room, and like the queer kids of Gunnison High School.
There was like 4 of us, I think.
All 4 of you. Asher Cody, who I'm still in touch with. There was a very small little group
I know
of
them.
Yeah,
I know that name.
that's who I'm gonna hang out with if I move to the Netherlands.
Oh, that's fun. Wait.
We'll come back to the Netherlands in a second.
Yes.
Hold up.
I want to hear about that.
Let's go back to when you first moved out here. What was that like to kind of get your bearing here with like so much culture, for example?
It was really exciting and relieving. I had felt stifled in Gunnison, not by my parents. They were very cool and encouraging and helped me get to Denver.
I love that they're always at your shows. They're so
They're
supportive.
fun. I like hanging out with them. But as we just mentioned, Gunnison was largely like ranchers and cowboys, and I skied, so I had a small community in that. But it wasn't like my passion. So getting to Denver was just bountiful. There was you were already here, and there was people like Destino to meet, and there were all sorts of cool Facebook groups to join and like communities I could tap into one way or another. And I just immediately started like drinking from a fire hose of like connections and experiences. Creativity.
Oh my God. Speaking of creativity, I'm kind of going to jump a little bit. But I did want to bring up something. Baja Blast.
Mm-hmm.
When?
That's a question that I'm asked by more people than I ever thought I would.
For those of you that don't know, Baja Blast is an iconic song by Aubrey, which is one of Sam Burt's artist monikers. And it's an iconic song that needs to come out, and it's been just being sat on. So are you saving it for the debut?
It's in the vault right now. That's what it is, isn't
It's reached a point where it's sat in the vault for so long that it needs to be remixed and mastered, because I've gotten so much better at that. So it's become a chore again. It was finished for a little while, and now I'm better at mixing and mastering, and I want to revisit it. And it's also a collaboration with someone who hasn't got their DistroKid set up yet.
Oh no.
So
No.
it's this like perfect trifecta of reasons to keep this song in limbo that have
Save it for the album.
for years. Yes, it's
Mhm.
gonna. I do think that the hyperpop moniker alias is going to have a eventual release, which I might title. What's policy on swearing in this interview?
Oh, baby, swear away.
I might title "Fuck It," for the reason of taking all sorts of things, Baja Blast included, that are like imperfect and unfinished, and I have all these reasons to not release, and just say "fuck it" and just put out like a mountain of fun pop that I've not polished.
Okay.
So yeah, a Baja Blast will come out.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to know.
It will come out.
we can
It's
just kidding.
confirmed. Now we're gonna hold you to it. We're gonna bring you back in a few months.
Oh
and
my
make sure-
god.
Let's do that. I need stuff like that.
Literally, for real.
I just slip on my own commitments to myself very easily.
Talking about fun pop, how did you start creating hyperpop? And I mean, when I first met you and started performing shows with you, I feel like your music has just grown and taken its own different shape, and you've just really been creating your own lane here in Denver with your music style. I like how cinematic everything is, and especially at your shows, you incorporate like movie sounds and like cinema in your performance. So I guess maybe you could tell me a little bit about like hyperpop to the fun stuff that you're making now.
Yeah, I think it chronologically went the other way around.
Oh, really?
And then when I started the hyperpop, I leaned super hard into the genre, and maybe what you're hearing now is me like backing off the stereotypes of the genre and letting some of my like
Creativity.
original sound back in. But cinematic music has always been my favorite, and like the first things I ever made in Ableton were very like dramatic and cinematic and like not structured the way pop is, a lot more.
Yeah, your music live, it's like I always think like epics. Like
Thank
it
you.
gives
Yeah,
like epic.
that's the goal. Yeah. So I started making a bunch of that stuff. And in the pandemic, I discovered 100 gecs.
Yes.
And it was the pandemic. So there was a lot of time to experiment and learn new skills. Some people learned how to make sourdough. I learned how to make hyperpop. I was like, that music is cool. I like listening to it while I play video games.
Yes.
Playing a lot of video games these days in the pandemic. So I just decided to explore it. And I also think it's, at a glance, pretty simple. I was like, wow, hyperkinetic electronic music with auto-tune all over everything.
Autotune makes
I
the
wanna
music so
it's
much
the
more
auto-tune.
fun.
That's what it is. Distortion and auto-tune on the vocals. That's what hyperpop is.
Yeah, well, it's fun to like change up who you are through your music and audio, so it's kind of adds to another whole layer to music creation.
I think that was like a result for me of trying a new genre.
Mm-hmm.
Was
That's
that
so
I like
cool.
developed an alias.
I just want to say that I really love how in like when we listen to your music, for example. I mean, we were both listening to your music together and apart, but it really feels like I feel like I'm growing up with you when I start in the beginning, and it's just like, and like when you say like you lean into these cliches and then you start to retreat. To me, that just sounds like your 20s. You know what I mean? Like it just seems like you're growing up and kind of working your way over there into becoming Sam Burt in their entirety, right?
Thank you. Wow.
Where do you feel like you're kind of moving in a direction now, like in the same way that you retreated from those cliches? Where are you headed now? Where's Sam Burt going next?
How do you know the question I ask myself every morning? So I'm working on a third project currently, which feels both super exciting and like a terrible idea to me. So I struggle a lot with like if I should just loop all my projects together, call it all Sam Burt, make hyperpop, cinematic stuff, and dancey stuff, or not. I spend a lot of time debating that, and I'm currently like sort of deciding, and maybe right now committing out loud, just like I did to Baja Blast. This third thing I've been working on is its own thing, and so I think I will launch it as such, and I think it's going to be an era of bass music for me for a little while.
Oh, fun.
okay. I see it.
Yeah. I
That'd be
live in
exciting.
the best city almost in maybe the world, probably the country for bass music. I love to make it. I'm saturated in communities full of it. I think that
Mhm.
I want to like dedicate some effort to it. So I'm gonna make a third project all about bass music.
That's awesome. That
It's pretty
sounds so
much
much
made. I'm
fun.
gonna launch it though.
Oh, I
Nice.
love
So
that.
you've already been working on the music?
A lot of it.
Ooh,
Yes.
okay, all right. This is coming out in a month, so we'll see where you're at with that, then I'll check in.
That will be interesting to see. I can't wait to reflect on that myself when I see this.
Do you think that maybe uh, you've been event managing, correct?
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe managing those events specifically maybe forever, which is if for those viewers who may not know what maybe forever is, it's a really, really cool rave that happens here in the city that our wonderful friend Sam helps organize and put together, and it's always a blast. So you should definitely check it out.
They're very
But do you think that's helped kind of like shape that idea?
Yes, definitely. So yeah, I've had the pleasure of being the production manager of Maybe Forever for I think now over 3 years, pretty much since its conception, since shortly after its conception. It was founded by my friends Julia and yeah, always.
Even the merch.
It was founded by my friends Julia and Jordan. And they are, like you said, underground raves, but we really like focus on vibes, where it's like a very welcoming space. It's safe for everybody.
Mhm.
I think it's a high majority of queer people at pretty much all of our shows,
Mhm.
because the community has grown into that through word of mouth. And it is, yes, highly focused on bass music. So it's definitely, I think when I say I'm saturated in the communities, that's probably the biggest one of like electronic music in general that I'm saturated in.
Yes, and some pretty big and amazing and cool names have come through maybe forever. What's that been like to be able to like be in such close proximity and like near the magic of them DJing and
With
creating
the
in front of
greats.
you?
Yeah, an
Yeah.
honor.
Yeah.
Jordan, our founder and promoter, is excellent at what he does, creating, maintaining these relationships that make it possible to bring these artists in. And I really do each time just feel like honored to get to, so I production manage the events. I make sure that the CDJs are set up and ready to go. The sound is ready. The lighting person shows up and does their thing. Um, at this point, I've got a well-functioning team. It's a pretty hands-off role, and it's such a privilege to just like be a big part of these parties that like
I bet it's so much fun. It's something about like being able to cultivate and curate a space for people to celebrate and have fun and just happily exist together with music and art.
I
That's a
agree.
power. That's a superpower to have.
It's a special thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they're a special team, and I'm lucky to be a part of it.
Oh,
Well, I
yeah.
think it's really cool that you like initially came out here, starved for this community. I'm not putting words in your mouth.
I said that.
But yeah, and I just think it's really interesting that you kind of turned around and created this space that I know 18-year-old Sam would have probably loved to be a part of. So I just think that's a sign that you're doing the right thing, right? Like
Yeah. Thank you for saying that, because I don't know if I've really reflected on it that way. And I
Mhm.
agree. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just kind of funny how it comes full circle, and I'm really excited to see where that goes next. I hope that do you play at these raves or
Yeah, I do. Not very often because we don't want to book the same artist too many
You've never
times.
been.
But I've
I don't think I have.
played two of them officially, like on the bill, and then oftentimes the last set of the night is fam B2B, where we all just like Jordan, myself, Julia, Tyler will kind of take turns DJing. But I have played two of them like officially as well, which have been some of the biggest names I've had my name on a bill with. Umru, Nina Geraci, Angel, Low Poly, Salva is collectively
Yes.
the artists that I opened for in those two shows.
Oh, that's
Oh my
amazing.
gosh, the pressure though. I feel like
Yeah.
let's talk about that for a second. How do you get out of your head? Because I know you and I know that you be getting in your head.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. What's your process right before a show?
I'm freaked out the whole day. I'm freaked out the whole day. I have a hard time eating that day. The bigger the show, the worse it is. The Umru show, I was like, felt like I was like dropping in an airplane the whole day. But it goes away within the first song,
Mhm.
maybe the second. But I don't think I ever hit play on in my third song freaked out anymore. I'm just like,
In your zone.
the adrenaline goes to the right places, and yeah, I'm in my zone. I feel cute. I'm having fun. I like to like invite my friends over sometimes and show them what I've been working on. And a show is just like a really big version of that. And
Yes.
when I tap into that, I'm just like, oh, my friends are here. I'm showing them my songs. It's so much fun. I'm hungry because I didn't eat all day. But I'm a wreck before them. Yeah.
Next time we're at his shows, we gotta throw like granola bars on stage or something.
Please
just
throw the granola bars on
we'll know
stage.
that he's hungry up there.
Yes.
I went to a show in LA like 2 years ago, and one of the artists was handing out like they had a big old bag of like McDonald's cheeseburgers, handing out cheeseburgers to the crowd.
That's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
the hunger hits during the set for me. Once
Uh-huh.
the anxiety turns into fun, my brain's like, hey, this is fun. We should eat.
Literally. Oh my God. Do you think that maybe you could kind of take us through your creative process when making music? Like, how do you usually go about it? Like, what's your typical music making?
There's a lot of different ways, I think. I sometimes approach it with a like result in mind. Either I'll hear something inspiring or just have an idea and kind of start a project with like, I want to make this in mind. Sometimes even having a reference song, listening to it. But probably more often than that, I just have a like creative stirring. Maybe I'm anxious or even upset about something, or maybe I like have a crush on a new person. But there's just energy in me I need to get out, and I will sit down in front of Ableton with the last thing on my mind as a result, and I'll just kind of start like looking for an instrument I like, and then improvising on my keyboard until I've made a melody I like, and then looping it, and then putting some weird effects on it, and then and I sort of think of that as like sketching or like doodling with sound. You know, if you're like an illustrator, you could approach things so many different ways. You could say like, I'm gonna draw a picture of myself, or I'm just gonna like go outside and grab dirt and rub it on the canvas, and then like trace the darkest parts of the dirt and see what that looks like. So I think my creative process is sometimes just dirt, and it's sometimes like pretty meticulous. I'll like listen to a reference song again and again and try and like really think about the kick and like replicate it. So I could talk about my creative processes forever.
I love it. I love it. I love hearing people talk about their passion. So it's so much fun.
Thank you. Yeah.
Do you typically like have gear that you like synthesizers that you make sounds on, or is it mostly like your MIDI keyboard and then you sound design in the software?
It's mostly Serum.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that.
It's mostly
Do you
Serum.
own any gear?
No, like real proper like hardware. No. I work at a backline shop, so I have the privilege of taking synths home if I want and playing with
Ooh.
them. And I have a little affair with the Moog Sub 37.
Yes.
So there
I was
is
like, where is this going? What do you mean affair?
Yeah. There is a lot of Sub 37 in my stuff, which is just this one particular Moog synthesizer that I just like I play with a lot at work and borrow sometimes. So I have access to some outboard gear and I like to play with it. But I also really love Serum, and I think that I've managed to express myself pretty well through it. Like if I kind of like imagine a sound, like, oh, I need a, then I can usually make it with Serum. So it's as tempting as it is to get more stuff, it's easiest to stick with what I know. Also Vital, which is another virtual synth that I've started playing with recently, is cool, but it's mostly in the box.
Yeah, I feel you. Gear is just so expensive now.
So expensive.
I like had to look up some controllers, and I'm like, how?
I want a Nord. And have you looked up Nords?
No, because I'm
Yeah,
like,
don't.
once I see 4 digits, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna worry about it.
Yeah. No, that's my most expensive piece of gear. There's the CDJ. Well, it's not. It's an XDJ RX3.
Oh.
Well,
That's-
and honestly, we were kind of talking about this like before the show a little bit. Like, I think anyone that kind of started out like you or like you that were like 18 with like a Yeti mic and like a little keyboard from Amazon, like at the end of the day, once you find a way to express yourself, like stick with it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, because what else can you do?
Yeah.
And especially with gear, it feels like for music and photography, or like where I'm coming from is photography, and it just seems like there's always another piece of gear. There's always something else. But like at some point, you just have to hit the ground running. You know, you got to do what you got to do.
Bon Iver's album for Emma Forever Ago, which I forget what the exact award was, but it won a massive award the year it came out. Maybe like most sold album of the year. It was made with a single SM58, an 8-channel mixer, and one guitar in a cabin. The whole album, and it like topped the charts.
Wow.
So
That sounds
that's my
like-
favorite argument for gear being irrelevant.
Yeah.
It sounds like a backstory of like Stephen King going into the woods and like bumping out a hit. You know what? That's kind of what it sounds like.
It is kind of that
So it's
vibe.
possible. It's doable.
It is. I think also living in like such a consumerist world, we are like conditioned by so many different entities to kind of believe that like in order to be good at your profession, like you need the top of the line gear.
Mhm.
And in some cases that's true for sure. Like there's instances in which like you just need the real deal. But it is also untrue in so many
Yeah,
instances.
starting out especially.
Yeah.
For people just
Yeah.
starting out especially, do not be spending a bunch of money. Just get yourself a little tiny MIDI controller and a DAW and you're good.
Yep. Imagination is 1,000 times more valuable than gear.
But I will say something that is not invaluable in this room is a really, really cool instrument that I admire of yours that is homemade, correct?
It is, yeah.
Do you think you could show us the space hammer?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let
let's
me
bring
grab
out
it.
the space hammer.
Let's do it.
Yes. And then just tell us a little bit about it. I want to know the story about it.
This is the space hammer. It is effectively a keytar. Well, it's a MIDI controller. But the most popular keytar, the Axe Edge, the Roland Axe Edge keytar, has the little like whammy bar up here, which is usually pitch, but it's programmable too. So I made this in wood shop in high school.
Wow.
Oh my
pretty much
gosh.
as a child in Mr. Phipps's classroom.
I still have my bookshelf. I remember making a bookshelf, and I like he got mad at me because I used the most expensive wood we had. But I was a diva, and I was like, no, I'm using this wood.
That was
Iconic.
my other safe place in high school.
my
was the wood
gosh.
shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I made this. It's basswood. It is not the most expensive wood.
So he probably didn't hate you as much as he hated me.
No, but he gave me some cool wood for some stuff.
Oh, wow.
I made a sword out of mahogany that was very cool. But
We
this
were
is
really
pretty
just
much
doing whatever in that high school, right?
I
Back in the day,
somehow, yeah, I don't know.
they just really just let us do whatever we wanted. I remember one time. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. but,
Please,
like,
no, I want to talk about Misspoken.
I remember one time I had exactly one of our art classes. I had one of my colleagues. I'm so old. One of my schoolmates wrap my arm in like plastic, and the whole thing was like a 4-hour long project. And she ended up like making a bust of my arm, and it was like the coolest thing. But then like in retrospect, it's like, what were we doing in that classroom? Like, where did all this material come from? Like
I remember that project, the arm cast
the
project.
arm. I think there's still photos on Facebook. Anyway, I think this is a lot more interesting. Let's
Yes.
get back to that.
But you're right. Our high school had a good art budget
Yeah, we
for
were
a
really-
little redneck town.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a MIDI controller sunk into some wood. There's a dowel drilled into the pitch modulator knob, which this is a very cheap controller. This is not real. It's not mappable. It doesn't do anything, and neither is this.
the
But
vibes are real.
this one is real. The pitch one is real. So it works, and it's. I didn't really ever expect to do much with it. It was just a fun little art project. I used it at a pep rally that I played at GHS, which was horrible and awkward and I shouldn't have done. And then it just sat there in my room forever until I started playing shows. My dad was like, "You should break the space hammer out for one of these shows." I was like, "Dad,
Your
what?"
dad is so cool.
The space hammer.
No, I love your parents. I
He
love
was right.
obsessed.
It's the thing people remember me by the most, I think.
Everybody goes crazy when you bring out the space hammer for your shows. Like that's a highlight of your shows for sure.
I only usually play 1 or 2 songs with it.
I know, but people love when you bring it out.
Yep. And it's sitting there the whole time. It's what people remember. So,
that and the hats.
and the hats, yes.
Yeah, but we're on that topic though. Let's talk about your style, because you
Okay.
have such a distinct style that I feel like I want to ask you if you made it yourself. Whenever I see you wearing stuff, Do you-
Sometimes.
Yeah, let's talk about how involved are you with like curating your own style? Like, do you go shopping a lot, or do you have like your own little shop at home where because I know that personally I have like a ton of felt and stuff, but I can't make anything.
So like I've made a couple outfits by like cutting up things I thrifted, but the vast majority of my clothes, I'm just gonna be honest, are like cheap fast fashion. Like Forever 21 sponsors 90% of what I wear. And I don't like that, and I want to move away from it, but I have them all already, and they're really cute. So to answer your question with that aside, maybe we won't include that. I don't know. I, especially over the pandemic with my unemployment checks while I was learning how to make hyperpop, really dove into like exploring my gender. And one of the like, I think easiest ways to explore your gender is with clothes.
Right.
Because they change how you see yourself and how you appear. So I shopped online a lot during the pandemic, found a bunch of cool clothes that I liked, found a bunch of clothes that I didn't like, and passed those along to my other friends exploring their identities. And kind of just through experimentation from the past like 7 years, have kept all the things I like and have found different ways of combining them. And so I do think that I like am responsible for my style and my appearance a lot of the time, but compared to some of these other artists in Denver who like make their own clothes, I don't really feel like I can claim like stylist as much of my art.
You go get
But I
out of
do
here.
like
You
to
look
look
so good at your
cool.
shows. You know how to style yourself. You're a stylist.
Thank you. I try. Yeah, I try. I like to look cool.
Period.
And I
Like-
don't think that I really have any boundaries, which I think a lot of my like expression comes from just like not following traditional boundaries. There are so many fun clothes for so many different
There
types of people. I
is.
want to wear them all.
I think that we are kind of nearing the end of our interview. I'm so
Perfect.
sorry.
No, that's
But
great.
maybe one last thing to dip out on. Do you think you can give us like a couple of like maybe 3 things that you're inspired by
Ooh, yeah.
right now?
Resistance inspires me. Seeing just like the world stand up for itself. I think that community inspires me, being welcomed into different spaces, helping create spaces, welcoming others into spaces. And other artists inspire me so much. And that's, I feel like, part of what I like want to do as an artist is inspire more artists. Like just when it hits right, film or music or any kind of art. Sometimes I'm so charged up by one thing I'll see or hear that I'm just like, I gotta get to Ableton so bad. It feeds itself, I feel like, art. So it's
Well,
probably my main thing.
Can I just say this? I think you inspire me for what that's worth.
No, for
You're
real.
very like you came out here and you just did it. Not a lot of people can say that, and I think that's very admirable and
Thank you so
inspirational.
much.
For real.
Thank you.
We love you.
You guys, this is cool.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it.
It's a
Our
pleasure.
first guest at the Reverb Room, Sam Burt. Definitely check out their music. They're on Apple, Spotify,
All that jazz.
all of it,
And
everywhere.
Instagram, TikTok. Where else? Where else can we find you?
Um,
Denver shows.
Spotify, Denver. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably Instagram, though, is my most active source. It's Sam W. Burt, Burt.
Mhm.
So if
There
you're
it is.
curious. I'm Sam Burt, and this is Birds Everywhere. sad, huh? And this is something new. This is the new project. We're going to try this out. There's no words.